Hello, my dear learners. Today, I want to share something that could truly transform the way you learn English. Let me begin with this simple truth. English is not as difficult as you think. It's not impossible either. In fact, you can become fluent much faster than you expect. I understand that many of you feel nervous when it's time to speak. You hesitate, get stuck, and sometimes avoid speaking altogether because you're afraid of making mistakes. It's a common struggle. Even after years of learning, when you need to speak, it feels like your mind suddenly goes blank. You recognize words, understand when reading or listening, but when it comes to speaking, you freeze. I completely understand this feeling. I've faced the same difficulties while learning a new language. I know how frustrating it is when you want to express yourself but can't find the right words. I know how hard it is when native speakers talk too fast and you fail to catch their words. But here's the good news. You don't have to stay stuck. I'm going to guide you on how to learn English in the simplest and most natural way. From today, I want you to forget the things that made English seem hard. Forget about complicated grammar. Forget about trying to be perfect. Forget the fear of making mistakes. Do you know the real reason most people fail to speak English fluently? It's not because they lack knowledge. It's because of fear. Fear of being wrong. Fear of being laughed at. Fear of judgment. Let me ask you this. How did you learn your first language? Did you memorize grammar rules? Did you learn long lists of vocabulary? Of course not. You learned by listening, copying others, making mistakes, and using the language daily. That's exactly how you should learn English. You don't need to study English. You need to live it. Learning English shouldn't be a one-hour task that you forget after class. It should be a part of your everyday life. You should hear it, think in it, and speak it regularly. Today we'll learn English from the history. The Roman Empire story. Why the Roman Empire still inspires us today. The Roman Empire wasn't built in a day, and that's exactly why its story matters. Over 2,000 years ago, a small town on the banks of the Tiber River grew into one of the greatest empires in human history. It ruled lands stretching from Britain to Egypt, from Spain to Iraq. But Rome was more than just soldiers and stone buildings. It was about people who dreamed big, worked hard, faced challenges, made mistakes, and built something that changed the world. Why does this matter now? Because the story of Rome is also a story of determination, leadership, courage, and learning. It shows how powerful ideas like justice, teamwork, and resilience can grow into something massive. And for anyone learning English, building skills, or trying to grow step by step, Rome is a symbol that you, too, can build something great. So, let's explore how it all began, how it grew, and what we can learn from the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. 1. Foundations. From village to republic. Rome began not as a capital, but as a legend. The traditional story says that Rome was founded in 753 BC by Romulus, who, along with his twin brother Remus, was raised by a she-wolf. They were sons of Mars, the god of war. One day, Romulus fought Remus and became the first king of Rome. True or not, this myth gave Romans a sense of strength and destiny from the beginning. But real history is less about legends and more about learning. In early times, Rome was a monarchy. It had kings, but it also had a group of elders called the Senate. These leaders helped advise the king. Over time, the people of Rome became unhappy with kings having too much power, especially a cruel one named Tarquin the Proud. In 509 BCE, Romans overthrew the king and created a new system, the Roman Republic. The Republic was a bold idea. Power would not rest with one person, but be shared. There were two main leaders called consuls, elected for 1 year. Laws were made by the Senate and the people. It wasn't perfect. Only certain citizens could vote, and many were left out, but it was a step forward. It taught Romans to value shared power, debate, and responsibility. From this point on, Rome began to grow not just in size, but in spirit. They believed in hard work, loyalty to the Republic, and something called mos maiorum, the customs of their ancestors. This foundation made Rome strong. 2. The road to power, conquests, and citizenship. Rome wasn't just built by ideas. It was also built by action. After forming the Republic, Rome didn't stay quiet. They fought with nearby neighbors, the Etruscans, Samnites, and others in central Italy. These early wars were tough, and sometimes Rome lost. But each time they learned. They improved their army. They built better roads. They made alliances. And here's the key. Instead of simply destroying enemies, Rome often invited them in. They had a smart policy. They gave citizenship to some conquered people or at least special rights. This created loyalty. People didn't just fear Rome. They wanted to be part of it. Slowly, this mix of strength and smart politics helped Rome control all of Italy by 265 BCE. But that was just the beginning. Next came the Punic Wars, famous battles against the powerful city of Carthage in North Africa. These wars were some of the most dangerous and dramatic in Roman history. The most famous enemy was Hannibal. He shocked the world by marching elephants over the Alps to attack Italy. He won several battles, but Rome didn't give up. They fought back, adapted, and eventually won. After 3 long wars, Carthage was destroyed and Rome became the master of the Western Mediterranean. With every victory, Rome grew, not just in land, but in confidence. And with each new region, Spain, Greece, parts of North Africa or Rome added people, languages, cultures. This made the Republic more complex, but also more creative. New ideas in art, science, and philosophy came in. Roman roads, aqueducts, and cities spread. Latin became the common language. Rome was no longer a small Italian power. It was becoming an international force. But with this success came pressure. How do you manage such a big empire? How do you keep the balance of power? The answers would lead to new challenges and new heroes. 3. Tipping point, from republic to empire. Rome had power, land, and ambition. But now it faced a new kind of battle not with outsiders, but within itself. As Rome expanded, wealth poured in. Rich families grew richer. Poor citizens struggled. Soldiers who fought for Rome returned home with no land, while senators bought up huge estates. The gap between rich and poor grew wider. Politics turned from debates to arguments, and then to violence. Reformers like the Gracchus brothers tried to fix things by giving land back to the people, but both were killed. This sent a dangerous message. In Rome, even good ideas could lead to bloodshed. Then came powerful generals, Marius, Sulla, Pompey, and Julius Caesar, who used their armies to gain influence. The Republic was no longer ruled by cooperation. It was becoming a contest for control. One name rose above them all: Julius Caesar. He was brave, smart, and ambitious. He conquered Gaul, modern-day France, gaining fame and loyalty from his soldiers. The Senate told him to give up his army. Instead, he crossed the Rubicon River in 49 BCE, a direct act of rebellion. War followed. Caesar won. He became dictator for life. But not everyone trusted him. On March 15th, 44 BCE, the Ides of March, Caesar was assassinated by senators who feared he wanted to be king. They hoped to save the Republic. Instead, they broke it completely. Another civil war followed. Out of the chaos rose Octavian, Caesar's adopted son. He teamed up with Mark Antony and Lepidus to hunt down Caesar's killers. But this alliance didn't last. Octavian defeated Antony and Queen Cleopatra of Egypt in the Battle of Actium in 31 BC. He became the sole ruler of Rome. In 27 BCE, Octavian took the title Augustus. He didn't call himself king or emperor, but that's what he was. The Republic was over. The Roman Empire had begun. This was the tipping point. Rome moved from being a democracy with checks and balances to an empire ruled by one man. It was the end of one era and the beginning of another. 4. Age of Emperors, Pax Romana and Amp, the Five Good. Augustus knew that power alone wasn't enough. To rule well, he needed peace, order, and pride. So he built roads, reformed the tax system, created police and fire services in Rome. He celebrated Roman traditions, supported the arts, and encouraged family life. He also kept the Senate, but made sure it followed his lead. The result was the Pax Romana, or Roman peace, a 200-year period of relative stability and growth. Trade flourished. Cities grew. Law and engineering advanced. From Britain to Egypt, people were connected like never before. Latin and Greek were spoken across the empire. Roman law brought justice. Aqueducts brought clean water. Roads brought travel and trade. Rome was more than a military power now. It was a model of civilization. After Augustus, not every emperor was good. Some were cruel or foolish. But then came a golden period, the Five Good Emperors. 1. Nerva, 96 to 98 CE, started the tradition of choosing the next emperor based on skill, not family. 2. Trajan, 98 to 117 CE, expanded the empire to its greatest size. Built public works like Trajan's Market and Trajan's Column. 3. Hadrian, 117 to 138 CE, built Hadrian's Wall in Britain. Focused on defending the empire, not just expanding it. 4. Antoninus Pius, 138 to 161 CE, ruled with peace and fairness. Promoted arts and education. 5. Marcus Aurelius, 161 to 180 CE, a philosopher king, wrote Meditations, a book of wisdom and reflection. These emperors ruled not for personal power, but for the good of Rome. They proved that leadership can be wise, fair, and humble. Under their guidance, the empire stayed strong, wealthy, and united. This was the Roman dream at its best: order, justice, ambition with purpose. But even in golden ages, cracks can appear. After Marcus Aurelius, challenges would return. Yet the legacy of the Pax Romana, peace, innovation, and unity still shines today. 5. Challenges: division and amp, renewal. After the golden age of the 5 good emperors, the Roman Empire began to face serious problems, both inside and out. In 180 CE, Commodus, son of Marcus Aurelius, became emperor. He wasn't wise like his father. He enjoyed games and luxury more than leadership. His reign marked the beginning of instability. After his assassination, Rome fell into chaos. From 235 to 284 CE, the empire went through what's called the crisis of the 3rd century. In just 50 years, over 20 emperors came and went, many killed in battle or by rivals. At the same time, invaders attacked the borders, plagues killed thousands, and the economy suffered. The Roman world seemed to be falling apart. But once again, Rome didn't give up. A tough general named Diocletian came to power in 284 CE. He made big changes. To control the vast empire better, he divided it into 2 parts, each ruled by its own emperor. This was called the Tetrarchy, for rulers for one empire, 2 senior emperors and 2 juniors. He also tried to stop inflation, reorganized the army, and demanded discipline. His rule was strict but effective. The empire survived. After Diocletian retired, more power struggles followed. But another strong leader would rise, Constantine the Great. Constantine made 2 major moves that shaped the future of Rome and the world. First, in 313 CE, he legalized Christianity. For centuries, Christians had been persecuted. Now, they were allowed to worship freely. Eventually, Christianity would become the official religion of the empire. Second, Constantine moved the capital from Rome to the Greek city of Byzantium. He renamed it Constantinople, now Istanbul. This move showed that the power of the empire was shifting from west to east. Though troubles weren't over, the empire had renewed itself. Once again, strong leadership and smart reforms gave Rome another chance.
6. East and Amp, West. 2 paths.
Rome was now 2 parts, West and East. The Western Roman Empire included Italy, Gaul, France, Spain, and Britain. It still had the city of Rome, but it was weaker, less money, more invasions, fewer strong leaders. The Eastern Roman Empire, ruled from Constantinople, was richer, more stable, and better defended. It included Greece, Egypt, and parts of the Middle East. This eastern half would survive for nearly 1,000 more years. In the West, things got worse. Germanic tribes like the Visigoths, Vandals, and Ostrogoths began moving into Roman lands. Some came peacefully. Others came by force. In 410 CE, Rome was attacked and sacked by the Visigoths. It shocked the world. A city that had ruled for centuries was now vulnerable. The final blow came in 476 CE. A Germanic leader named Odoacer removed the last Roman emperor in the West, a boy named Romulus Augustulus. The Western Roman Empire was over. But this wasn't the end of Rome's story. The Eastern Roman Empire, known later as the Byzantine Empire, carried on. Its people still called themselves Romans. They preserved Roman law, art, and learning. One great emperor, Justinian, even tried to take back the West and created the Justinian Code, a foundation for modern law. The Byzantines would face their own struggles, but they held on until 1453, when Constantinople finally fell. That was the true end of the Roman Empire. Still, Rome had lasted more than 2,200 years, from a village by the river to a world empire. 7. Legacy. Why the Roman story motivates us. The Roman Empire may be gone, but its influence is all around us. If you've ever walked on a paved road, used a calendar, studied laws, or visited a city with a central square and government buildings, you've seen the legacy of Rome. The Romans didn't just build an empire of land. They built an empire of ideas. Here's how Rome still lives on. Law and government. Many modern legal systems are based on Roman law. The idea that people should be treated equally under the law, Rome helped shape that. Language, Latin, the language of Rome, gave birth to many modern languages like Italian, Spanish, French, and Portuguese. Even English, though Germanic, is full of Latin words. Engineering and architecture, aqueducts, arches, domes, and concrete. Romans were master builders. They solved big problems with smart solutions. Citizenship and duty. Romans believed in civic responsibility, being part of something bigger than yourself. That idea of public service still inspires today. Resilience. Rome fell more than once, but it always found a way to rise again. That's a powerful lesson for anyone facing hard times. But beyond the buildings, battles, and borders, Rome teaches us something personal. Greatness doesn't come all at once. Rome started as a small village. It grew step by step, by learning, adapting, failing, and trying again. It faced enemies, bad leaders, and huge problems. Yet it kept building. That's what makes the Roman story so motivating. It shows us that if we stay determined, stay curious, and keep improving, we can grow beyond anything we ever imagined. 8. Conclusion. Your own journey. So what does this ancient empire have to do with you? Everything. Whether you're learning English, starting a new job, or working toward a dream, the journey can feel long and hard. You might make mistakes. You might feel small, like Rome did in the beginning. But small doesn't mean weak. It means there's room to grow. Think like a Roman. Keep learning like the Republic did. Stand up after failure, like after the Punic Wars. Be brave enough to change when things get tough, like Diocletian and Constantine. Build things that last, not just for you, but for others. Rome wasn't built in a day. Neither is success. But step by step, brick by brick, word by word, you can build something strong, something meaningful, something lasting. The Roman Empire may be history, but your empire, your goals, your voice, your future, that story is just beginning. That's all for today. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.